Perfect. We're live.
Hi.
I'm Justin Fichelson, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Avenue 8, a new brokerage for entrepreneurial agents. And we are very lucky to be joined by Hilary Newsom, who I can say I've known for over half my life. So thank you, Hilary, for joining. And Hilary is the president of the PlumpJack Group, which owns and operates some of the best wineries, iconic restaurants, and hotels throughout California and elsewhere. She joined the company founded by her brother, Governor Gavin Newsom. She joined in '96 as director of marketing and is now president. Also founded the PlumpJack Foundation and Golf Link Classic, which raises money for charities. So thank you so much, Hilary. We're very lucky to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here, but I got to be honest with you. You just said I've known you for half your life. That's a true statement, and that I just suddenly feel old.
Over
Sorry.
half my
Either that or you're still 17. I think you're still 17.
or 16.
16, that's right. Oh, God.
So you are up in Napa. I'm in San Francisco where it's foggy. It looks sunny there.
It's beautiful.
So first off, tell everyone the history of PlumpJack, how it started, and what made you get involved.
So PlumpJack was founded in '92 by Gavin and his then business partner, Billy Getty, and they actually just wanted to demystify the wine buying experience. And so they really set out to create a space, which is still there. In 1992, he opened up the PlumpJack wine store. And the idea was welcoming the community and introducing them to wines. And so he had over 500 wines under $10 a bottle. Now that collection is more like $20 and under, but we also have hard to find wines, highly allocated wines. And so it was a safe space for people to come and enjoy and shop, and not just shop out of boxes on the floor, but really get to know wine. And actually our wine buyer, Paul Berman, has been with us since we opened, essentially. So I believe he started in '93. I started in '96. So it's a very, there's a lot of longevity. And so the idea behind PlumpJack was just to be approachable. And we kind of, approachable luxury, because the idea is we had a wine buyer, we curated it, but we weren't price gouging, and we were being authentic. And so from there, Gavin opened up PlumpJack Cafe and shocked the world by pricing wines at $2 to $3 above the retail prices at the wine store, and absolutely turned the restaurant industry on its side. And people were really, shocked, because usually the markup is 3 times wholesale. And here we were just, a few dollars above, and that took a while for people to get used to. But the whole foundation was really being approachable. And since then we've grown the businesses. Currently we have 14 operating businesses. We have 4 additional investments that we're not operating. But at one point we operated upwards of 20 businesses. So we've been really proud of all that we've accomplished in all these years.
Totally. And I'd say it's definitely a testament that you have the same wine buyer there since '93.
Exactly. And by the way, you, as we all know, were one of our very first employees at the Balboa Cafe. So I remember you when you were little. You were my kid's age.
I actually feel like I grew up there. And the most special part is you have like Lance, Scott, Brian, and Carla, and these people that have been there since the '90s. It's incredible.
Lance precedes me. Tony precedes me. There's so many gentlemen there that precede me. Carla doesn't quite precede me, but very close. So that is really exciting, and it's something that I'm super proud of. The fact that people have made their careers and successful careers out of working with our brand, that's, for me, is, fantastic.
Yeah. Also says a lot. I mean, there's not many restaurants or establishments, period, where people stay for, 30 years, like literally make it their life there. I mean, It's amazing. And it's special to go there now, because it's like, in some ways, the crowd may have changed a little bit, but it still is the same place when you're sitting at the bar.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, my father just recently passed away, but it's really generational. So it's, it was my dad and all his buddies who are, the ones that are still alive, with their kids and now grandkids. Yeah. And so it's neat. It's really, I think, wonderful and heartwarming to see that continuity. And it's, it's hard losing our really close friends, but it's also wonderful to see that next generation joining us.
Yeah, totally. You see your dad come in with Halligan, and they pop in and out throughout the day. It's like it was almost like a second living room, the Balboa Cafe.
Exactly. And a safe space, because you could be there alone and not feel alone. But you could, celebrate. It could be a quick stop, a quick
Yeah,
beer, a quick, Coca-Cola, but it always felt like, you were stopping over at a best friend's house.
totally.
And
And
hopefully
also,
that's still the case.
yeah, and then there are people who, there were many people who would be there from brunch to 2 a.m.
I know. The hardest part, Jesse, you'll appreciate this. We only have outdoor dining now.
Yeah,
And so we've done something we've never done before, which is ask people for just a short window at the tables. And that's the hardest thing
yeah.
because that's not our style. It's not what we want to do, but we have to accommodate when you only have 8 tables.
Yeah. How do you think that's going to change, like with the opening up? Do you think it's going to kind of close up again with numbers spiking a little bit, or what do you think?
Well, I hope not. I mean, I think my brother has been messaging masks. Of course, I love things like, masks, earrings, glasses, and I just buy, like, I have 30 masks now just to match different outfits. It's really, so I've just decided to make it fun.
Yeah, totally.
But I was already a bit of a germaphobe, so I had all the hand sanitizer. I was ready.
Yeah,
I didn't have masks, but I popped right on that bandwagon. But I think, right now we're just, we have 2 security guards at the Balboa all the time, and it's not crowd control. It's just reminding people to be aware.
Totally.
And it's because it's hard to be aware when people see the sun out and, it's like everybody's been cooped up for so long, but we can't be part of that resurgence. We have to be responsible and we have to be advocates for the masks and we have to keep social distancing. And of course we have this beautiful park that I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I saw it. It looked great.
Yeah, but we haven't been able to open it yet. So we're anxiously awaiting approvals. We got approvals from the county. We're just waiting for the approvals from the ABC. And hopefully that'll add to our energy. But again, keeping really responsible social distancing. I hope we don't find ourselves closing again in the fall. I hope that.
I hope not too. So with service, because obviously in the hospitality business, you guys give, centers around great service and obviously having great people like Lance and Brian and so forth. So what is good service to you? Because obviously it's different to everybody. I personally am not, I would much prefer to go to a casual neighborhood restaurant than a white tablecloth, like 8 course. So like what's good service to you? And what do you think makes places like the Balboa and their service so special? And how could that kind of concept of service be attributed or adopted to other service industries like real estate?
Right. Well, I think, we talk about this all the time when I have my new hire orientations with the team is we're not ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And there is businesses out there that accomplish that beautifully. And that's not who we aspire to be. I don't want to be perfect. I want to be authentic. I want Lance to be authentic. I want Carla and Brian and Mark. And that's what I want. And that's, we hire individuals. And so we talk about how the most important thing for us is the individual experience, not the Club Med model. It's not one size fits all. Yes, you can have your burger without this and you can add that and you can substitute that because that's who we are. We're in the hospitality business. We're not in, it's not prefix. And so, and people who want that prefix and whatnot, they get that too. And as I said, people do that beautifully. That's not what we do. So I think that authenticity in that welcoming, casual, and for us to really ensure that our employees understand that when they're there, it's their business. Totally. It's not Hilary's, it's not Gavin's, it's not Jeremy's. When they're there, they represent, the company, and their choices are good choices. And we allow them to make those choices, and we allow them to give the guests the best experience possible and to get to know them. And people talk about anticipating needs in hospitality, but I don't look at it just as that. I just look at it as, Alejandro knowing that Steve is coming in, he sees him park his car and the iced tea is ready. Yeah. So it's, yes, it's anticipating needs, but it's actually about building relationships. Yeah, they know each other well enough to know what the expectation is going to be when he comes in.
Yeah, no, I think that's what makes the service there special is the relationships. And I think if you took like the Lance Bryans out of there or the Alejandros, I think it wouldn't be the same place. And I think the same thing can be said for any industry, including real estate. There's not like a prescriptive way you should give good service. It's all, it's about your own individual style and then making a connection with that person and catering to them.
Well, that's exactly, it's the difference between being a salesperson and building a relationship, right?
Yes.
And if I'm going to go to a realtor and I want, you know, I don't want to be a transaction.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a transaction in a restaurant. And I'm sure you feel the same way. You're going to take as much time as you need to make it right and to find the dream home. Absolutely. And that endears you to them and they'll come back, right? Same with me. I can't just have a big bill, you know, and a great tip one time. I have to have, I don't care if it's one Coca-Cola 1,000 times. That's more important to me.
Exactly.
Building that relationship where I know those people come back.
And same thing in real estate. I mean, it's not about the one transaction. You want a long-term relationship, because if they have a connection with you, they're going to refer their friends and family. And the reality is, most agents, after a few years, all their business, 90% of their business are referrals. So and repeat clients. So that makes a lot of sense.
How did you decide to get into real estate?
I've always been interested in real estate. Actually, when I was in high school and middle school, I would pick up, they used to have the free real estate Times magazines. Oh, yeah. And I would look at it and kind of think about, like, fantasize, I would buy this and remodel it and sell it, and what would be a good investment. And I'm a people person. I also could not be stuck with a 9-to-5 desk job. It's just not who I am.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of all over the place too. So it was just kind of worked out perfectly for me. And then I started Avenue 8. I've been working on it for 2 years. That was, you know, my experience as an agent. I just felt like agents were paying way too much money back into the brokerage. They weren't using brick and mortar office space. And also they didn't have the freedom to set their own deal terms, which as an entrepreneur, you know, is fundamental. So yeah.
I love real estate. I'll tell you, people ask me if I weren't doing what I was doing as the co-president of PlumpJack. My first answer is always philanthropy. I would be elated to be, you know, doing philanthropy full time, but not today. But otherwise, I would be in real estate. Absolutely. Yeah. Except my car is really messy. I'd have to learn how to get I'd have to learn to clean my car.
You know what though? You never have to drive people anymore. It's very rare.
Oh, you don't? Okay,
so
good.
Keep the car inside messy.
Okay, good. See, when it was in my mom's era, my mom worked in real estate back in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. She had to drive people, and I remember thinking, oh God, I could never keep my car clean.
No, fortunately, you don't have to do that anymore.
How times have changed.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the philanthropy aspect probably comes because I knew your dad pretty well, and he was just all about philanthropy and the environment and all of that.
Well, interestingly enough, my mom was too. My mom used to work for the DeBolt family, and she was their sort of fundraiser. So there was, philanthropy just has invaded my family, and it's in such a beautiful way. And that sense of service, you know, and I think Gavin, as the governor and mayor and, you know, other supervisor, et cetera, understands that sense of service. So he does it in that way, and I do it in a different way. But, you know, the PlumpJack Foundation is one of my proudest moments and one of my greatest gifts to my mom, who, you know, died of breast cancer. And you knew my mom.
Yeah, she was doing the bookkeeping. I think she was the controller for PlumpJack when I started.
She was. And she was very, very shy and very sweet. And for her, she didn't want to be forgotten, which was such a telling moment. That's what she told me on the day she passed. And so we really made a concerted effort to make sure. I wasn't going to let that happen anyway, but we've done it intentionally to make sure that we scream from the rooftops how beautiful Tessa Thomas Newsom was. And so we have the Tessa's Cuvée wine at the wine store. All that money goes to this foundation now. And then the foundation, of course, is just a few years old, but we've still raised $5+ million for cancer research over the 20 years that we've been doing it. But
in the Golf Classic as well is a fundraiser for that.
It's great. We had to cancel it this year. That was really hard.
I know, it's tough.
That was the first time. It was would have been our 21st annual. And you know what was really great? It was a lot of people donated to the golf tournament.
That's great.
And had us keep the money, which I thought was a beautiful thing. Some for next year and some just as a straight donation. I thought that was a really generous,
for sure,
beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. What's it like having Gavin Newsom as your brother? Because obviously when I started there too, he was younger than I am now, like 32 or something like that. So
yeah, Gavin, I can't remember. Gavin he's 51. I'm 51. He's 52 now. Yeah. So he's I'll say this. it's a wonderful, my brother's wonderful, but the only hard part for me is the expectation is that I have information from my brother that I don't have. So I have friends call me all the time going, well, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Tune in at noon. I'll find out when you find out. So there's no insider information from my brother. He did teach me a lot at PlumpJack. He's a serial entrepreneur. We've grown the business, of course, since he left, but and our partners are amazing. But he also is a really impressive sales and marketing guy. Like, he's a real marketing person. So that was something that he taught me. And then that sense of service, as I said, that's just been part of my family, and hard work. I think all that. So it's interesting, in 2007, 2008, we took kind of a turn at PlumpJack, and what I realized is that I wasn't being authentic to Gavin's original vision. I think we were trying to be too corporate and sort of create this space that just didn't feel authentic to me with other partners that I had at the time. And we've since parted ways, and Jeremy Shear, who's my co-president, and I who is also my first cousin, my mom's twin sister's son. So identical twin sister son. So it's definitely, he and I think, embody that original vision that Gavin had. And so that's been really special. We've been able to really be authentic to Gavin's original vision. But Gavin is, I so admire him for the sacrifices he makes, for the sacrifices Jen makes. Together, they're as a couple in terms of philanthropy and service. And it's a lot. And I'm elated, that I'm related to him. I just don't get secret access. So I've had one social distancing, afternoon with the family, and that's all I've seen them during this whole time.
Yeah, it's a busy time for him, for sure.
Exactly.
He's doing a great job, so.
Yeah, well, he does return my texts, but not much content.
Yeah.
He's always there for me as a brother.
Well, that's good. How do you go, because I know it's really hard finding great employees, particularly in a city like San Francisco that's so expensive. Yeah. How do you find the great employees that are not just great, but they also embody the values of the company?
So it is really hard. And that's why, for me, it's such an amazing celebration of, we love celebrating all these long-term employees, because we really have many. We have 20th anniversary lunches. We have 15, 10. I mean, we celebrate a lot of people. We have a lot of really exciting professionals that have grown with us. But it's hard. It's a very difficult labor pool. So for us, when we get these great people, we want to keep them. We want to keep them happy, growing, excited. We have a lot of employee programs that we love, PlumpJack University, which is a lot of fun activities that we do. And now the new world that we're in, they're going to have to be done on Zoom. But yeah, I guess the baseball game might be off this year, but we try and retain the people we have first and foremost. But we are not adverse at all to hiring the smile and training the skill. I mean, really, right. You have this authentic, warm personality that's outgoing. And so you were a perfect face for Balboa, and that's what we're trying to do. And you were young, right? And obviously you've done amazing things with your career, but we hope that, we have those type of enthusiastic, people-centric people that are representing
people first.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest challenges? I mean, obviously there's a lot of challenges with shelter in place, but since shelter in place, what's been the biggest challenges to weather? Obviously you guys had to close, but with reopening, and then what do you think are going to be the lasting changes on the hospitality industry from all of this? Because I would imagine the thought of going to a nightclub now is a little tough. But at the same time, I had lunch at Balboa Cafe the other day outside, and that was great.
Did it feel normal?
It did, actually. Yeah, totally did.
The hardest part is, was just, for me, was the anxiety of the team, right? And making sure they were okay, and that they were getting their benefits, and that they all had the support, and that we kept them informed, and that we kept them engaged enough that they wanted to come back. The hardest part since opening is there's a lot of anxiety. A lot of people in the community mean well, but aren't practicing social distance. And it gives my team anxiety because we were really focused on health. And so to have people walk right up to you with no mask on, and you don't want to be inhospitable, but so those are some of the challenges that we're facing. And then of course, not being able to be whole. So we don't have our whole team back, and we don't have full capacity. And we know that's going to be a long time coming, and we're patient, but I miss the people. And I miss, the family, the 350 plus PlumpJack family members. And so that's been really hard. We're not working out of the office. And so I pop in and out on occasion very safely and carefully, but I don't want to also be an impediment. So I do a lot of my calls from the computer, and that's just it's a different world. It's a different world, but we're adjusting. And I think some of the best practices that are going to come out of it are, we've done a really impressive, Goran and Jesse have done a really impressive to-go business at the Balboa. The way they present it, the way that it travels, the way that it travels to get home, everything is deconstructed. So the food tastes amazing. And of course, the ABC has allowed to-go cocktails. So if we can continue this part of the business, I'm excited about that. I think that to-go business has real legs. We're going to translate that in Tahoe as well. And I think we're just this attentive service that I think is just turned up a notch, and, our willingness to go outside the box on menu items and how we present things. And and our cleaning practices have always been really, very stringent, but we've taken it up 10 notches. So I think those good things that'll come out of it, that'll make us stronger.
I mean, the reality is people are, we're people. I mean, we want to be around other people. We're social animals. And so, the idea that people are just going to want to stay home in the future, I don't buy that. I think that people need that contact. And I think that this will just shake it up a little bit, and it'll make restaurants have to do innovative things like that, which are probably good ideas, especially with all of the, these delivery apps and all of this.
Right. No, I mean, we even looked into having our own delivery person because we found that to be such a lucrative part of our business. And it's also just made us more creative. The winery team, they immediately turned from tasting room employees to outbound salespeople, and not cold calling. We just took our database, and people were elated to hear from them. And now that's a genuine new part of our business that will continue in perpetuity. So that's another best practice that's been incredibly favorable, not only from the guest experience saying, oh, wow, thank you, Justin, for reaching out. Yes, I'd love a case. But also re-engaging with guests that can't come to our winery, doing virtual tastings. I actually participated in one with my YPO group. It was fantastic. It was an hour, and it was so much fun. And so these are new things that we've implemented as a business that will continue forever.
Yeah, I think people in businesses are just adopting a lot of the technology that was out there, and that was, things were changing towards that way. And now it's gonna, it's like you said, you can have a virtual party, and it's actually not so bad.
Oh my God, and it saves on the commute.
And no stumbling home.
And the cleanup. Oh, look
at Jeff.
I have my mask on.
Very nice.
You're awesome.
This is Jeff Callan, Hilary's wonderful husband.
Yes.
I'm learning a lot from you guys. Now I'm going to work in my wedge game.
Well, we are in Napa after all.
Yeah, sure. I've seen Jeff has done a few of these like virtual golf, competitions solo at the house.
Yes. It's impressive, and none of it's doctored. Like, those are real. I think he has too much time on his hand.
Hey, film business is kind of shut down for a little while, so I get to work on my golf game.
Why are you?
Why not? Take a little 9-iron out.
He's not wearing the right hat. Okay. Of course.
So what do you love most about your job?
The people. Yeah. My constituents are the employees. And so I always tell the employees, I work for you, and then you work for the guests. And my priority is the employees. Second is, the investors. And third is, it's all about the team. And I try to be, we try to be a little innovative. We try to be a little creative in terms of our, like I said, how we sort of engage them outside of just work. We don't want them clocking in and clocking out. We want the team to actually care about all the 14 PlumpJack businesses, visit them, engage them, cross-market them. They're all our marketing ambassadors. And so I do care about the team. I don't think I had the program when you were there, but I have a Tea with Hilary program, and it's on hold right now. But I sit down with 2 to 3 employees for about 30 minutes, and I just talk about nothing. And I actually find it so much fun because I get to know about people's passions. And a lot of our team members are really talented in so many ways. They're photographers or videographers or actors or singers, and they have these great, rich lives outside of PlumpJack. And that's been super fun. And I love, seeing them and saying, how's your wife's pregnancy going? Or, did you train that new puppy you got, or whatever it is, or can I see your new photography? I just think that for me makes it real.
Well, I think for them too, for employees or for our agents, if we were just, here, come hang your license, and we don't want to really know about you, it doesn't feel very personal. And it's, I think, myself included, everyone wants to feel like they're valued and heard and listened to. And it's important to get to know employees and people around you.
Well, my sister-in-law, Gina Callan, is doing our kitchen because it flooded, right? So she's helping us put it back together. And, it's an opportunity for me to get more storage, for example. And I know it's not going to be as beautiful because more storage is never more beautiful, but she's completely engaged in finding me storage. And she's like trying to create this space that looks cool because she's a designer, but that gives me what I need. And that's the point. Like, without that conversation and dialogue and trust, then there's no,
anything.
Yeah, then you don't get the end product's not going to make sense.
No, absolutely. Okay, so this is a question I guess we've somewhat covered, but who would you say is your biggest influence on, growing up and now on your career, on what you want to do in the future? And it doesn't have to necessarily be someone it could be a family member, but also someone who maybe you don't know as well.
Well, it's interesting. So I've thought about that question a lot in my life, and I feel like it's a mix, right? And so to be really authentic, like my big influence in terms of philanthropy is my father. In terms of hard work and loyalty, it's my mother. In terms of, the glass is always half full, even if there's not a drop of water in it, is my best friend, Lori Puccinelli. In terms of living life to the fullest, it's Jeff, my husband. So everybody, to somebody who's elegant and authentic and pure-hearted is my best friend in New York, Bridget. Like, everybody has a different influence, and I wake up and think to myself, how can I be, joyful? How can I be fun? How can I be philanthropic? How can I, not the small stuff, and be a good person and be loyal? Like, I really do think for me, I draw my energy from so many different amazing people in my life that were part of it, like my parents who've passed and who are part of it now. And I really do think of, like, what would Jeff do? What would Lori do? What would Bridget do? And it's nice because it kind of is. And sometimes I like to hide in my closet and say, I don't want to be happy today. I don't want to be fun today.
No. I will say there's one theme with all those people. They're very positive people.
Right.
All of them have really great, young, positive energy.
Yeah. No, I mean, life is not boring for me. I'm so grateful.
Definitely not. What would you say is your greatest accomplishment? And it doesn't have to be with work.
Lolita and Sienna. Yeah. No doubt. I mean, they're 17 and 15. And so the age really that you started. And I know I have more time to screw it up, but I tell you, and I know I haven't done it alone. My husband, my in-laws, Bob and Barbara, my sister-in-laws, everybody's participated, but they are such, and this COVID, crisis has brought me closer to them because I can't go to work as much. I mean, I'm working, but I'm working from home.
Kind of the silver lining of it.
Right. So the amount of time I get with my kids is so much, greater. And they're amazing. They're amazingly beautiful souls. They're philanthropic. They're smart. They're kind. They're funny. They take so much after my husband. And I look at them and think, it really brings tears to my eyes to think, oh my God, you're part of me. I really am so emotional about it. It's been amazing.
Yeah. That's
so hopefully, hopefully I don't screw it up. They're home for another couple of years. So. God, I really got emotional there. Gee.
No, that's beautiful. Okay, now these are for the less emotional questions. What's your favorite restaurant that's not part of PlumpJack? And it could be anywhere in the Bay Area. And then a favorite restaurant outside of California.
Okay, so you guys know that I live in Marin when I'm not in Napa because my house flooded. And we love this tiny, tiny Italian restaurant called Trattoria al Fresco. And it's a one-man show. Not even kidding you. 3 days a week. It's Marco, the owner, who does the cooking, the cleaning, the waiting. And then
where is that, Marin?
Right in Ross.
Oh, so right across the shopping center right there? Or?
Oh, right across from the street from the Ross School.
Oh, so cool.
And it has the best pasta with tomato sauce. My dad always said he was going to write a book, go around the world and write a book on just pasta pomodoro. And, you know, because if you get that right.
It's perfect, yeah.
It's perfect. And I've had it 60 times, and it's never been anything but perfect. So I would say Marco's place there in Ross is fabulous.
I remember your dad loved this restaurant in New York that I went to that was so cool. It had like zebra print. It's not there anymore. Zebra print on the walls.
That was amazing.
Italian place, like old school New York, and it was small and had like red wallpaper with zebras.
Red wallpaper with black and white zebras.
Yeah.
Great quick story. So I mentioned my best friend in New York, Bridget. She and I met at Tory Burch when I was working, or Donna Karen when I was working there. And the first day we met, she's like, let's have dinner. She picked that location, or maybe I did because of my dad.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how long it would take to get through Central Park. I kept her waiting 45 minutes. I got to the bar. She was still waiting for me. These big guys with cigars in their mouth, you know, drinking whiskeys or whatever. It was so Italian and so good. And at the end of the meal, it was cash only, and neither of us had cash. It was the funniest night. And our friendship has been sealed ever since. But I loved that place. It was called Alfred's, or I can't remember.
I get the name, but it closed a few years ago. But like one of those classic old school, just New York places.
Yeah, that was a good one.
What about favorite outside of California, or was that it?
You know, no, in New York, I go to New York quite a bit for work and to see Bridget. And I would say that one of my favorites is Sant Ambrose.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah,
I like the Soho one and the West Village one.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I love the Ivy, and in Santa Monica, their chopped vegetable salad is always delicious. And Morimoto up here in Napa I don't know if it's opening. I think it's opening this week. I can't wait to go back. Yeah, no, I love food. I love dining. You know, there's so many good restaurants, and in Napa in particular, a great little Italian place is my girlfriend and her husband have a place here in Napa called Il Posto. It's so good.
Oh, I've heard
Best pizzas. So good. Yeah.
Good to know. I'm going to go. Okay. Favorite place to vacation?
Italy. Do you see the theme yet?
Yeah. You wish you were Italian.
You have no idea. I'm 83% Irish, but I wish. I lived in Italy. In Milan, and I worked for Giorgio Armani back in the day, and I fell in love with the culture, and I've had the privilege of taking my kids there a couple of times, and I just find it to be the most beautiful. I love the people. I love the food. I love the culture.
Which is your favorite city in Italy or town?
Well, we just went to Puglia, you know, that region, and it was beautiful, but I got to be honest with you, for me, I love Siena. Of course, my daughter's name is Siena. And so I love that area. I love Tuscany.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I just love it. San Gimignano and all these.
And there's so many good restaurants that are just like family owned in the middle of nowhere, in like a little village there.
Yeah. And a $5 bottle of wine. You're like, what?
Yes. And like the best pasta you've ever had for like 6-7 euros or something.
Right. Exactly. No, we went to a couple Michelin stars. I did go to Sicily last summer for my cousin Susan's 50th. It was fabulous. And I will say I loved Sicily way more than I even imagined. But it's fun to explore different parts of Italy.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I'm dying to go to Sicily. Okay. Last question. Book you're reading now.
Actually, I'm going to start reading it. So I don't read books. I listen to books on Audible. And I just ordered the Bolton book. Ooh, I'm excited.
That's a fire one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I have about 10 books that I rotate on Books on Tape. Nothing that says like, you know, how to be a better manager. Those tend to, you know, those are better read physically than Audible, but I love mysteries and things like that. But I'm really ready to open that Bolton book. I think it arrived in my inbox last night.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
All right, great. There's a question from the audience. A lot of selling real estate in the Bay Area is about how much Bay Area residents love their different neighborhoods and areas with amazing restaurants, shops, hotels. How do you think this is going to be evolved with the longer lasting ramifications of shelter in place? I guess we kind of covered that.
Yeah. What do you think though, in terms of real estate?
I think that,
or?
there's a lot of talk about people leaving San Francisco, and Marin and these, suburbs are definitely busier, and obviously Napa's on fire, but, there's also a lot of new people moving in San Francisco that's not being talked about. A lot of first-time home buyers now, and I think, people want to live in San Francisco or New York City, do not want to necessarily live in the suburbs. Maybe they're at the stage in their life, they want to be in the city where the action is, and, it's, when you're in a city, you can walk around and you just have a different energy than you're going to have if you're living in Mill Valley, right? So
right.
I think it's now with outdoor seating, when I drive around on the weekends, it's surprisingly busy.
Yeah.
But I think, people they adapt to what's going on. And, Dolores Parks has the distancing, but it's busy. So
do they have the circles?
Yeah, the circles.
My daughter's math teacher's like, why don't they do squares? It's so much more efficient.
That's funny.
I know.
Well, yeah. Great. Well, listen, Hilary, you've said it all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. It's really kind of you and sweet. Enjoy Napa. It looks beautiful. It's foggy in San Francisco today, and it looks gorgeous up there.
Stunning here. I'm so proud of you and so honored to be your friend, and really appreciate this opportunity today.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Say hi to Jeff and the family.
I will. Bye.
Take care.
See you soon.